What's up, Mason Nation, and welcome back to this week's episode of Touch Base. Apparently, I didn't get the memo that we were supposed to wear polos today, so...
the dress code.
Yeah.
That's cool. We love it.
Today we'll be delivering to you everything you need to know about everything there is to know about baseball. My name is Aaron Witten.
And I'm Ryan Donahoe.
And unfortunately, today will be our last episode of the semester. We've had a great time putting out this show and creating this content for everyone watching this past year. And we're uber excited to continue this next year. And a shout out especially to everybody who watches our show on a regular basis. Today we're going to be discussing our predictions for the Major League Baseball standings by the end of the 2017 MLB season and who Ryan and I each believe will reach the World Series. So let's hit it off for one last time.
All right, so as Aaron said, we'll start by saying the predictions for each division. We'll start out with the AL East. I have the Boston Red Sox. I think that they are stacked. Their rotation is pretty incredible. They're probably the best team in the division, so it's not like one of those things where maybe later on I'll be saying they're the more experienced team. They are the best team. They have the most talent. You got young guys in Bogarts and Jackie Bradley Jr. I think that they will carry that team into the postseason, and maybe, like I'll say later, maybe even a little further than just the playoffs. So we'll see. Next, I have after the AL East, I don't know. A little problem with the teleprompter here, but you know what? We're going to keep going. So I will say the AL Central, and I'll pass it off to Aaron.
Okay, well, I'll let you talk briefly after me, Ryan. So I have the Cleveland Indians. They've got Corey Kluber, Carlos Carrasco, Danny Salazar. Their rotation, they boast one of the best in not only the American League but in baseball as well. So that's really what's going to keep the team on the uptick if they are going to reach the playoffs.
Yeah.
Last year, that was the rotation that led them. But also they got Kipnis, Carlos Santana, all those good guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, who do you think's going to lead?
Yeah, I also have the Cleveland Indians with Kipnis, Brantley, Encarnacion. Great addition. They're also a pretty stacked team, and making the World Series last year, I think will be good experience for them. They know how to contend for a playoff spot, and I think they'll definitely be able to get in there. Moving on, we have the AL West. Now that we're all caught up, I have the Houston Astros. They had a down year, definitely last year, but Jose Altuve, Dallas Keuchel, and Carlos Correa, they've got a real solid group of players, good core. I think that they'll be able to get past the Texas Rangers and make the playoffs. What do you think, Aaron? Who do you think will get out of that?
So interestingly enough, I'm going to counter you with the Texas Rangers. I believe they have a good chance at winning the division, as you said. I mean, it's a hard division. Angels, not that good, but they're competitive. You've got the Seattle Mariners are good, so that's another team that we could throw into that box of chocolates right there.
Athletics,
exactly. But Cole Hamels, Yu Darvish, another team that's pitching oriented. But, and they got a prolific offense, and as you've alluded to in one of the episodes, that small ballpark, that offense, Ronan Odor, Mike Napoli, all those good bunch of guys. It's a good team.
Yeah, Rangers are definitely good. I do have them making the playoffs. I think the Astros will beat them in the division, though.
Sure.
Moving on to the NL East. Aaron, you've got this one. I'll give it to you.
All right, so, this is your area of expertise, Ryan, but I'll hit it off first. So I have the Washington Nationals winning the division. You might be a little bit more skeptical. Maybe you picked another team. I don't know. Maybe. Washington Nationals GM Ryan Donahoe. But, Washington, another premier rotation in baseball. Apparently that's all we're talking about this episode is pitching. But pitching is an important part of the game, obviously. The Mets do pose a threat in that division, but the Nationals are built to keep up with some of the best teams in Major League Baseball. And just as we were talking about before this episode, surprise, surprise, Ryan Zimmerman has been excellent. Rendon's been a little below average. You got Trey Turner coming off the DL now, so it'll be interesting to see how the season plays out for the Nationals.
Yeah, I do surprisingly have the Washington Nationals winning the division as well. As you said, I honestly think they're pretty much a stacked team this year with Adam Eaton, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Daniel Murphy, and Ryan Zimmerman as the first five guys in that lineup, along with Scherzer and Strasburg. I think that they have a pretty good chance of doing some damage this year going into the postseason. So I hope that they do, and I think that they will. Moving on to the NL Central, I don't know how happy you'll be about this. I still do have the Chicago Cubs. I know we talked last episode about how their poor start, but Chris Bryant, MVP last year, Jake Arrieta, Rizzo at first base. It's a good team. They won last year for a reason. They have a little bit of experience now, and I think that they'll carry that again and win the NL Central. I'd be surprised maybe if you say the same thing. So we'll see. What do you have to say?
So I was looking at this before the episode, but I had to be realistic with myself. Chicago Cubs most likely are going to win the division. So shout out Grandma. You should be happy because the Cubs are going to win. So, yeah, there's little debate over who should win this division. Cubs are excellent in way too many ways not to win the division, but that's actually an interesting point is they are really good in so many areas, so it kind of makes you think in some of those areas, are they going to regress? As you said, Chris Bryant, MVP caliber season. Yeah, he's still young, but how much better can he actually do than the season he put up? You know what I'm saying? Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras are those guys, but as you alluded to, Ryan, they probably should win the NL Central. So then the next division we'll go on to is the National League West. I have an interesting pick here. I know Ryan and I, you know, we discussed this before. I picked the Colorado Rockies. It's an outside-the-box pick. It's a bit interesting. A lot of people probably don't have them going to the postseason just because of the lack of pitching that they do have. They brought in Bud Black as a manager in the offseason, so they're trying to fix that problem. You know, Gray, one of their top pitching prospects, is on the DL, but aside from pitching, hitting-wise, you know, they have a great offense, especially the ballpark that they hit in. Arenado, LeMahieu, Desmond, we could go on and on about the offense, but I think that they do have a decent chance at winning that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that my pick is the LA Dodgers to still win the West, but I do think that the Rockies can give them a real run for their money. They've already got 13 wins there, as we talked about earlier, but Kershaw is a lock. He's a beast. Rich Hill, you know, he's got blisters every once in a while, but I think he can do it. Corey Seager is a young stud. I think that they'll be able to also use some of their experience, like we've talked earlier, that they got last year from a postseason run that the Rockies really don't have. But I do love the Rockies' offense, especially with Desmond coming back from that injury sometime soon. I hope he tears it up.
Just an additional point to point out that you might have something to say about. I was reading on MLB Trade Rumors. Somebody was talking about Rich Hill and his blister issues and how they gave him the 3-year, $48 million contract. So because the blister issues keep resurfacing, somebody pointed out the idea of maybe putting him in relief. Would you really pay $48 million to put somebody like as good as Rich Hill is in that relief?
Yeah. I wouldn't personally. Maybe he should just start wearing some gloves or something. I don't know what he can do.
Golf out there, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But that about wraps us up for the show. Our fun fact of the day, the last one of the year. Everybody loves him. Babe Ruth was a pinch hitter at one time. In his entire career, he only hit 167. In 67 career pinch hit at bat, so it's not a small sample size. He was not good off the bench. Okay, he had to be in the lineup to hit those bombs. But anyways, that wraps us up our show for today. We hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for tuning in today and all year. I'm Ryan Donahoe.
And I'm Aaron Witten.
And we will see you next year.